After 25 years, SNK has finally revealed to the world that a brand new chapter in the Fatal Fury series is imminent. The upcoming game, set to be released in 2025, is titled Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. Being a longtime fan of the Fatal Fury series, I am incredibly thrilled for the upcoming release of City of the Wolves. I, like many other fans, have been eagerly anticipating any news from SNK about a new Fatal Fury game, and our patience has finally paid off. Fatal Fury, developed by SNK, is renowned for its captivating narrative, beloved cast of characters, memorable soundtrack, captivating gameplay, and its status as a direct competitor to Street Fighter by Capcom. The biggest difference between the two franchises is that Fatal Fury focuses more on the lore and its universe, and in today's video, I will be covering the entire lore of Fatal Fury. If you're a newcomer to the Fatal Fury series, hopefully this video will help you catch up with what's going on leading up to City of the Wolves. On the other hand, if you're a hardcore fan of Fatal Fury, I hope you'll enjoy this video.
Audio Jungle.
In order to provide you with a clearer understanding of the story behind Fatal Fury, it is necessary to delve into the narrative of Art of Fighting. This particular franchise, developed by SNK, serves as a prequel to Fatal Fury and is set within the same universe. This captivating SNK folktale traces its origins back to the 60s, taking place in a bustling city nestled along the scenic south coast of the United States known as Southtown. This city had a dark past, with both Italian and Chinese mafia groups thriving in its lucrative black market during the 1960s. During the course of the decade, the mafia inexplicably disappeared, restoring a sense of peace to the streets of Southtown. Behind the scenes, a pseudo-police agency called the Howard Connection, led by Geese Howard, was exerting its dominance. More on him later. Southtown has gained quite a reputation for its rampant criminal activity. Southtown is known for its infamous resident, Mr. Big, who has established himself as a powerful crime lord. Mr. Big is depicted as someone who exudes an abundance of self-assurance, arrogance, and ambition, and is not afraid to employ any means necessary to advance his objectives. There is limited information available about his past, but there are two aspects about him that I find particularly intriguing. His real name is James, and he has a military background. During his time in the military, he served alongside a man named John Crawley, who held the rank of captain in the Navy and also taught martial arts. It is important to mention that James came to John's rescue during a mission when John was shot in the back. This act of heroism earned him John's unwavering loyalty in the process. James decided to leave the military and start a new life in Southtown. He adopted the alias of Mr. Big and became deeply entangled with the local mob. However, their reign was eventually brought down by Geese Howard's organization. Despite this setback, Geese managed to recruit Mr. Big, who swiftly climbed the ranks to become Geese Howard's right-hand man. Prior to the events of Art of Fighting, the story introduces us to Takuma Sakazaki, a skilled practitioner of Kyokugen-style karate. He enters into matrimony with an American woman named Ronette, and together they have two children, Ryo and Yuri Sakazaki, both of whom are destined to have strong chins. The Sakazakis relocated to America with the intention of raising their family and sharing the legacy of their esteemed family martial arts. Takuma trained Ryo extensively from a young age, believing that Yuri was too young. He was determined to make Ryo the next rightful heir to the title of Kyokugen Ryu Master. Takuma also welcomed a young boy named Robert Garcia into the dojo, recognizing his genuine passion for the Kyokugen style. Robert Garcia is the son of Albert Garcia, a wealthy Italian businessman who had a close friendship with Takuma. Robert enjoyed a carefree childhood due to his privileged upbringing. He carefully spied on Takuma and Ryo's training sessions, captivated by their impressive skills and aspiring to replicate their style. Ryo's life took a heartbreaking turn when his mother Ronette was tragically killed in a car accident when he was just 10 years old. This devastating loss left him and his father Takuma with lingering concerns about whether they were being targeted by an unknown individual. Takuma departs from the house to look into the matter, leaving Ryo in charge of taking care of Yuri. Additionally, it is important to note that after the tragic event, Robert reluctantly goes back to his homeland of Italy, making a promise to come back and entrusting Ryo with the task of safeguarding Yuri. Takuma battled his way through a multitude of minions and henchmen to confront the mastermind behind all the criminal activities in Southtown, Geese Howard. Takuma confronted him, urging an end to his oppressive rule. However, Geese responded with menacing threats aimed at Takuma's family. Takuma is then forced to work for Geese in order to protect his loved ones. And in an effort to maintain his honor, Takuma dons a Tengu mask, which results in the creation of the alter ego that we refer to as Mr. Karate. Over the course of the next decade, Mr. Karate established a reputation in Southtown as the formidable hitman for Geese, striking fear into the hearts of many. While Geese was away on a business trip, he left Mr. Big in charge. Geese's orders are executed by Mr. Big, who kidnaps Yuri Sakazaki, coercing her father Takuma into remaining loyal to the organization. These actions lay the foundation for the events that unfold in Art of Fighting. The events of Art of Fighting are set in the year 1978. After several years, Robert Garcia returned to America to visit the Sakazaki family. Unfortunately, Robert arrives at the dojo just in time to witness Yuri being kidnapped. Meanwhile, Ryo Sakazaki is out in the streets fighting and establishing himself as the Invincible Dragon. On the other hand, Robert earned the nickname the Raging Tiger. In the midst of a heated street fight, Robert interrupts and urgently informs Ryo that Yuri has been abducted and transported to Southtown. Filled with horror, Ryo and Robert tear through the streets of Southtown, desperately searching for Ryo's beloved sister. Throughout his journey, Ryo faces numerous adversaries, including John Crawley, who had been secretly assisting Mr. Big. With the assistance of Robert, Ryo overcomes these challenges and eventually encounters a bouncer who goes by the name King, working for Mr. Big.
Round 1, fight!
During their meeting, Ryo and King engage in a fierce battle, with Ryo emerging victorious. In the midst of the intense fight, King's clothes tear apart, revealing a surprising secret about this character's true identity. King is a highly talented Muay Thai fighter who adopted a male persona as a means of safeguarding herself from the perils of Southtown. Despite the lack of explicit details, she finds herself reluctantly assuming the position of a bouncer for Mr. Big. Her motivation stems from the need to finance her younger brother's surgery and aid in his recovery, allowing him to regain the use of his legs. After tasting defeat at the hands of Ryo, King guides him and Robert to Mr. Big's location. With the combined help of Robert and King, Ryo finally confronts and defeats the Kingpin himself. Following Mr. Big's defeat, Ryo stumbles upon a dojo where he is confronted by Mr. Karate, who challenges him to a fierce battle.
Round 1. Fight!
The two square off, and after an intense battle, Ryo comes out the victor and threatens to kill Mr. Karate if he doesn't ensure the safety of his sister. Right before Ryo can land the finishing strike, Yuri steps in and impressively prevents Ryo from delivering the fatal blow. In a surprising twist, Yuri unveils the true identity of Mr. Karate, their long-lost father, Takuma Sakazaki, who had been absent from their lives for over a decade. The entire family joyfully reunites, bringing the events of the original Art of Fighting to a close. After the events of the previous game, Geese Howard makes a triumphant return to Southtown, reclaiming control of his organization. After Yuri's recovery, Ryo decides to train in the mountains, while Takuma takes on the responsibility of training Yuri to ensure her future protection. Despite Geese's considerable power, he had not yet fully conquered Southtown. In an effort to expand his ranks, Geese Howard unveils the inaugural King of Fighters tournament, uniting the finest fighters of Southtown with the intention of finding a worthy ally. Ryo, Robert, Takuma, and Yuri have all been invited to take part in the tournament. They have gladly accepted the invitation, determined to emerge victorious by defeating Geese. Ryo proves to be the MVP as he effortlessly defeats everyone, including King, who has since undergone a remarkable transformation since the previous game. King is now determined to lead an honest life and save up money for her brother's much-needed surgery. Ryo emerges victorious over King and secures a spot in the finals, where he is set to face off against the formidable Mr. Big once more.
Round 1. Fight!
Blaster! Over so soon? Blaster! Ora, ora!
Following a fierce battle, Ryo emerges as the triumphant fighter and is subsequently extended an invitation to meet the police commissioner, who turns out to be none other than Geese Howard himself. Geese initially tries to tempt Ryo into joining him, but Ryo firmly declines, and the two find themselves locked in a brutal battle.
Round one. Fight!
In the final moments of the battle, Geese attempts his deadly rave, only to be swiftly countered by Ryo's Ryuko Rambo, ultimately leading to the defeat of the formidable crime lord. Following his defeat, Geese manages to make it out of there just before Ryo can deliver the finishing blow. Soon enough, Geese learns that Jeff Bogard has been watching him this entire time, to which he sends his men after him. Meanwhile, Geese continues to build himself to become the big crime lord of Southtown in order to take control of the city for himself. Now that we have wrapped up the events of Art of Fighting 2, it is time to dive into the captivating mythology of Fatal Fury. But before we do, it is crucial to delve deeper into the backstory of Geese Howard, a character who has cemented his place in the annals of fighting game history as one of the most formidable villains of all time. Geese Howard comes from a poor American woman and an Austrian terrorist. After Geese was born, his father left him, forcing him to find various jobs in Southtown to assist his mother. Unfortunately, despite his best efforts, his mother succumbed to the devastating effects of poor health and starvation. Geese refuses to let sorrow consume him and embarks on a journey to Europe to find his father. Along the way, he uncovers a shocking truth about his father's identity as Rudolf Krauser von Stroheim. At only age 15, Geese attempts to assassinate his father, only to be effortlessly stopped by his half-brother, Wolfgang Krauser. Geese attempted to find solace in religion as a means of concealing his deep-seated anger and frustration. However, he struggled to reconcile his overwhelming sense of humiliation following his failure. Having learned at a young age that power is the source of results, Geese trained in the school of Hakioku Setkin under the tutelage of Tung Fu Rue alongside Jeff Bogard and Chang Sinzhen, both of whom he became good friends with. The three would become known at the time as the Three Brothers of Godly Battle. However, during this time, Geese started building his network with the Southtown local mafia through intimidation and personal bribes. This is where he also gained the services of Ripper and Hopper, who are best known as the personal bodyguards of Geese Howard. Sensing that Geese would not use the sacred techniques heroically, Tung passes the secrets of the school to Jeff Bogard. Geese was incensed with rage, and although Tung tried to tame Geese's spirit, Geese left the school entirely to build his organization housed inside what would become known as Geese Tower, which acts as his headquarters for his main business, Howard Connection, and thus makes the Geese Howard that we all love to hate. Jeff Bogard returned to the USA in 1981 alongside his master Tung Fu Rue. During his time in Southtown, he graciously took in two orphans named Terry and Andy. Jeff Bogard possessed a compassionate nature and a profound affection for children. Throughout his life, he experienced solitude and was determined to prevent other children from enduring a similar fate. One day, Jeff, Tung, and the kids were walking down the street when a car abruptly halted in front of them. Without warning, Geese Howard appears right before Jeff and brutally beats the crap out of him, ultimately ending his life in front of the two young boys. Overwhelmed by grief and sorrow, this tragic event served as the catalyst for the Bogard brothers to embark on a journey around the world, immersing themselves in the study of martial arts. Terry decides to remain in his homeland, honing his skills under the guidance of Tung Fu Rue. Meanwhile, Andy embarked on a journey to Japan, seeking to establish his own identity apart from his brother. There, he sought to master Shiranui Ryu Ninjutsu and a style of Kobuken taught by Hanzo Shiranui, the esteemed grandfather of the beloved Mai Shiranui. Eventually, Geese crossed paths with a woman named Marie Heinlein. The couple makes the decision to tie the knot, and in 1989, Marie welcomes their son, who goes by the name Rock. We will most definitely get to him later on in this video.
Audio Jungle.
The year is 1991, exactly 10 years after the death of Jeff Bogard. In the lead up to this, Geese Howard had already organized numerous annual editions of the King of Fighters tournament. Each year, his new right-hand man, Billy Khan, emerged victorious, having been hired shortly after Jeff's death. Like the Bogard brothers, Billy Khan was an orphan living in England who resorted to stealing food to provide for his sister, Lily Khan. Geese took both of them under his care, leading to Billy Khan having profound respect and admiration and loyalty for the big crime lord. Andy returns to Southtown and reunites with his brother Terry. They make a visit to Jeff's grave to pay their respects. Later on, they encounter Joe Higashi, a skilled Muay Thai fighter who has honed his craft in Thailand and earned the prestigious title of Muay Thai champion despite being originally from Japan. The brothers discover that a new King of Fighters tournament is taking place, organized by Geese Howard during this fateful meeting. The three quickly form a bond, and the two brothers join Joe in the tournament to seek justice for their father's demise. During the course of the competition, Joe comes across a resentful Muay Thai fighter by the name of Hua Jai. Although Joe was the one who ultimately prevailed, the two of them quickly became friends after the competition. Meanwhile, Andy puts up a valiant effort to reach Geese, but ultimately falls short before he can achieve his goal. Terry, on the other hand, is taking the tournament by storm and faces off against Billy Khan, who, by the way, was the only person in the tournament who had not yet lost a single match. Terry's victory over Billy, which ended his undefeated streak, propelled him to the top of Geese Tower. There, he faced off against the man who had tragically taken the life of his adopted father.
Round one.
During the intense battle that took place between the two, Terry emerged victorious and knocked his opponent out of the window. In doing so, he was able to successfully exact revenge for the death of his father. Or did he? It is 1 year after Geese Howard's apparent death that a mysterious nobleman becomes the sponsor of a brand new King of Fighters tournament. This time, the tournament would be held all over the world on a global scale. It is revealed that this nobleman is actually Geese's half-brother, Wolfgang Krauser. Krauser comes from the house of Stroheim dynasty, a highly regarded family of German nobility that has held power in South Germany near Austria since the Germanic Wars of the Roman Empire. For countless years, Krauser has established himself as a notorious figure in the criminal underworld. Intrigued by the tales of Southtown's notoriety, he decides to reach out to Geese through a letter. Unfortunately, he does not receive any response after learning that Geese died shortly after due to Terry Bogard. From that point on, Krauser employs 3 fighters to work for him: Billy Kahn, Axel Hawk, and Lawrence Blood. Billy Kahn's decision to work with Krauser stems from his desire to provide for his sister. Although he appeared to be devoted to Krauser, Billy was actually operating covertly to locate and eliminate the imposter of Geese Howard, whom Krauser had dispatched to tarnish Geese's company. He was also tasked with overthrowing Krauser as his secondary objective. Axel Hawk, a former heavyweight boxing champion, made the decision to step away from the ring in order to prioritize his well-being. However, his retirement was short-lived when he was offered a job by Krauser. Axel made the decision to join him as he was genuinely impressed with Krauser's skill and still had the lingering thirst for blood from his boxing days. Nevertheless, Axel was going through something profoundly personal in his life. Concern for his mother's safety weighed on him heavily as he worked alongside the crime lord, causing him to grapple with the choices he made and the potential repercussions they could bring. Lawrence Blood was a highly acclaimed bullfighter known for his exceptional skill in evading the charges of bulls and swiftly dispatching them with a single stroke of his sword. Since Lawrence was a young child, his family has maintained strong relationships with the Earl of Stroheim. Due to the fact that they had been loyal to the Krauser family for many generations, the Blood clan had always been considered to be their most devoted followers. Lawrence has consistently demonstrated unwavering loyalty, faithfully serving the most recent successor of the Stroheim heir. This commitment stems from the belief that Krauser too would endorse Lawrence's pursuit of becoming a skilled bullfighter. Clearly, this strategy proved successful as Krauser became both respected and feared, while Lawrence gained a reputation as a formidable bullfighter in the ring. After everything is said and done, Krauser proceeds to organize his own King of Fighters tournament, which ultimately leads to the events of Fatal Fury 2. As is customary, Terry, Andy, and Joe all participate in the tournament, and this is the point at which SNK fan favorite characters would make their debuts. Some of the characters include Mai Shiranui and Kim Kapwan. As mentioned before, Mai is the granddaughter of Hanzo Shiranui, who also happens to be the one who trained Andy Bogard. Mai acquired extensive knowledge of ninjutsu from her grandfather and honed her skills to become a highly skilled practitioner of the style. Upon their initial encounter, Mai found herself disinterested in Andy, perceiving him as a callous individual who prioritized his training above all else. When Andy gave Mai a present for her birthday, she came to see him in a different light, and it was then that she fell in love with Andy in a way that was, to put it bluntly, absolutely overwhelming. Kim Kapwan holds the title of current world champion in Taekwondo. He is a devoted husband who has 2 sons who are destined to have strong chins and who possesses a profound sense of justice. He has been invited to the King of Fighters tournament by Krauser, eagerly anticipating the chance to face formidable opponents. This time around, Raiden, who appeared in the first game, transforms into Big Bear, a babyface persona. Chang Sinzhen, who was a student of Tung Fu Rue and trained with Jeff Bogard and Geese Howard, makes his debut as a playable character for the very first time. Lastly, but certainly not least, there is Jubei Yamada, a judo master who was praised by those who witnessed his fights due to his unyielding willpower and youthful spirit that he possessed. Additionally, he served as Mai's trainer at the request of her grandfather Hanzo Shiranui, who was also a close friend of his. Terry Bogard enters the tournament and completely dominates the entire event. Terry encounters Kim Kapwan and, despite Kim's skill, emerges victorious. Kim graciously recognizes Terry as the superior fighter. The two developed a strong friendship, and ever since, Kim has been there to assist Terry in any way possible, all while maintaining their friendly competition. Finally, Terry encounters Lawrence Blood. Despite Lawrence's strong performance, Terry emerged victorious, rendering Lawrence's efforts futile. At last, Terry reaches the finals and faces off against none other than Wolfgang Krauser himself. They fiercely clash, exchanging powerful strikes until finally, the legendary Hungry Wolf of Southtown emerges victorious over the Crime Lord of Darkness. Lawrence was present during Krauser's loss, and he then disappeared completely from the scene of the bullfighting competition. Axel Hawk decided to leave his life of crime behind after Krauser's downfall and began training alongside Michael Max, a character from the first game. When Krauser was finally confronted with defeat and humiliation, he vanished completely from the fighting scene. Unfortunately, as time went on, Krauser would eventually take his own life. And thus, that's the story of Fatal Fury 2. we come to know about ancient artifacts that are rumored to be unavailable to anyone other than the most powerful fighter. The mysteries surrounding these artifacts are still concealed from the average observer, yet they are rumored to be dispersed, eagerly awaiting the arrival of a formidable warrior to gather them. These artifacts are known as the Jin Scrolls. It is a collection of 3 scrolls that were written down during the BC era in the time period of Qin Shi Huang, who was the first emperor of China and the founder of the Qin dynasty. Jin Chanrei and Jin Chanshu are identical twin brothers who, when they were 6 years old, lost both of their parents as a result of an epidemic that occurred in the neighborhood where they lived. Just before their father passed away, he mentioned Qin Wang Long, who was one of their family's ancient ancestors. The legendary general Wang Long, who served Emperor Qin Shi Huang, is said to have been responsible for the deaths of 1,000 soldiers on his own authority. The father of Chanrei and Chanshu managed to persuade them that they shared the same lineage as this formidable warrior, and the father unfortunately met his demise shortly thereafter. The twin brothers were then left to fend for themselves, and as they grew older, they developed a strong aversion towards others. A group of bullies attacked the brothers when they were both 14 years old, leaving them nearly lifeless on the streets. The twins lost consciousness, and their bodies were taken over by 2 spirits who were their 2,200-year-old ancestors. Chanrei was possessed by the spirit known as Qin Konglong, which enhanced his brutality and made him an effective fighter. Chanshu was possessed by a spirit named Qin Hailong, who happened to be Konglong's younger brother. During the time of the Qin dynasty, these 2 spirits were not only the people who were responsible for writing the Jin Scrolls, but they were also the sons of General Qin Wang Long. At this point, the twins are working toward the goal of collecting all 3 scrolls with the intention of resurrecting themselves inside of immortal bodies and taking over the entire world. Moving forward in time to the year 1995, the twin brothers are aware that the Jin Scrolls are situated in Southtown. In order to protect themselves and search the city for the scrolls, they employ a man who goes by the name of Ryuji Yamazaki as their bodyguard. Ryuji Yamazaki was a homeless child who had been raised on the streets of Okinawa. Due to the fact that American troops were constantly patrolling his town, he had a rather dull and miserable childhood. One day, he spotted a sharply dressed Yakuza boss named Sarimachi. Ryuji idolized him and eventually left his hometown to join the criminal organization. He eventually found himself working under Sarimachi, whom he admired like a surrogate father. This was a turning point in his life where he finally discovered true happiness. Sadly, during a business trip to Osaka, Yamazaki and Sarimachi were unexpectedly ambushed by a rival gang, resulting in Sarimachi's tragic torture and death. The latter's shocking death is what sparked the creation of Yamazaki's unhinged alter ego. Furthermore, it is disclosed that Geese Howard has managed to survive his encounter with Terry and is currently embarking on a mission to locate the Jin Scrolls, as he heard that these scrolls have the ability to grant immortality. In the opening of Fatal Fury 3, Yamazaki skillfully takes out Ripper and Hopper, Geese Howard's bodyguards, along with several other henchmen in order to obtain the valuable scrolls. The Bogards and their friends discover Geese's intentions and set out to thwart his plans. On their journey, Terry encounters a woman named Mary Ryan, an agent codenamed Blue Mary, who has been assigned to investigate the rumors surrounding the Jin Scrolls in Southtown. The two individuals, driven by a common objective, discover the potential of working together to unravel the enigma, forging a strong friendship in the process. A chaotic fight breaks out at the Pow Pow Cafe 2 when news spreads that the twins are searching for the third scroll, currently held by Geese Howard. This is the first time in 4 years that Terry has faced off against his most sworn enemy, and he is successful in defeating him.
I'm gonna bite you so bad. Yes.
Later, Geese makes a hasty retreat while Terry manages to escape the dangerous penthouse fire trap, all thanks to the timely assistance of Chang Sinzin and his helicopter. During their conversation, Chang makes it abundantly clear to Terry that Yamazaki is waiting for him at the deteriorating train yard known as South Station in Port Town. Terry faces off against Yamazaki, whom he soundly defeats with a resounding victory. Shortly after that, Yamazaki is taken into custody by the authorities. However, he manages to escape by beating up the officers who are attempting to arrest him. During the climax of the story, Terry finally comes face to face with the Jin brothers and becomes involved in a fight with Chanshu, whom he ultimately defeats. Additionally, Chan Rei will make an appearance and he will become extremely enraged over the fact that his younger twin brother has been defeated, and he will promise that the player will not leave the place alive. Following the conclusion of the conflict, the brothers are defeated and the spirits of their ancestors depart from their bodies. Following this, it appears that Terry has emerged victorious and that the competition has come to an end. After the climax, Terry encounters a young boy who turns out to be none other than Geese's son, Rock Howard. This concludes the events of Fatal Fury 3. So remember the Jinn Scrolls from the last game? Well, Geese Howard orders Billy Khan to destroy them so they won't be used against him. He believes that the scrolls have no secrets and won't be of any use to him. It's also stated that Geese fears the Jinn brothers and their abilities even if they are not disposed of. Billy, on the other hand, was filled with fear, unable to find the courage to confront the intense flames of hatred that consumed Geese. Geese's apparent demise in the first game has caused fear among the city's residents. Geese plans to remind them that he is the only ruler in the town. Geese Howard takes control of Southtown once again, and he hosts a new King of Fighters tournament and invites his arch nemesis Terry Bogard to settle their fight once and for all. Terry and his friends attend the King of Fighters tournament hoping to prove their resolve and keep enemies off their trail. One thing to note is that Andy during this time was dealing with a chest injury that kept him hampered, but still participated in the tournament nonetheless. Terry aims to face Geese for one final conflict to stop his evil plans and put him through the proper channels of justice. Terry emerged victorious in the finals and earned the opportunity to face Geese once more. Terry approached his final duel with Geese differently. This time, he sought to put an end to Geese's actions rather than seeking blind vengeance and rage as he had done in their first encounter. Terry and Geese engaged in a fierce battle within the sacred confines of Geese Tower's temple. Terry emerged victorious over Geese by unleashing a devastating power geyser. Geese plummeted from the tower only to be rescued by Terry. Geese, not wanting to face the consequences of his actions, chooses to free himself from Terry's grasp and plummets to his demise, deliberately ending his own life. And thus, the official death of Geese Howard. Billy Kahn becomes the CEO of Howard Connection after Geese's death. He discovers that Geese had a son and attempts to find him, but unfortunately his efforts are futile. Terry asserts that Billy's relentless pursuit of him and Rock Howard following Geese's demise is a significant factor in their perpetual evasion and wandering lifestyle across the world. And now, it's time to talk about the events that took place during the 10-year time skip between real Bout and Garou. But first, we're going to talk about Rock Howard, one of SNK's greatest characters and one of the most iconic fighting game protagonists of all time. As discussed earlier, Rock is the biological son of Geese Howard, born in 1989. He was aware of his father's presence, but he spent most of his childhood living a humble life with his mother Marie Heinlein in a small apartment. He frequently pondered about his father and felt a sense of anticipation at the possibility of eventually encountering him. Rock's mother fell ill with a mysterious disease when he was just 7 years old, and he did everything in his power to care for her and help her recover. Marie's illness continued to deteriorate, leading Rock to make a visit to Geese Tower where he had a life-changing encounter with his estranged father. Despite the boy's desperate pleas for medical assistance and his insistence that Marie was longing to see him, Geese coldly dismissed the matter and turned him away. According to reports, Marie passed away that very night, and Rock has harbored resentment towards his father ever since.
Audio Jungle.
According to Garou Densetsu, Stray Dog Stray Wolf, after being confronted by Billy Kahn, who was seething with anger and sorrow, and discovering that Rock was actually Geese's son, Terry found himself questioning his motives for fighting. He began to wonder if seeking revenge for Jeff was truly the right course of action. Terry couldn't help but feel guilty for failing to fulfill his promise to save Geese. Coming into contact with Rock, he was subsequently provoked into engaging in a street brawl. Terry quietly embraced Rock's challenge, remaining open to whatever came his way. Rock fought with great determination as a fledgling fighter, leaving Terry impressed and hopeful for another chance in life. Rock was taken in by Terry, and he made it his mission to raise and look after him. This was his way of moving past the conflict with Geese. He took Rock under his wing, teaching him the art of street fighting in Southtown and during their journeys across the globe. And I don't know about you, but Terry taking on the role of the father figure of his arch-enemy's son is an ironic twist of fate. Why is that? Because Geese killed Jeff, who adopted Terry and Andy, and Terry finally defeats Geese and then ends up raising the son of the man who murdered his father years ago. Mind-blowing, isn't it? Kane Heinlein, born in 1980, is the brother of Marie Heinlein, thus making him Geese Howard's brother-in-law and the maternal uncle of Rock Howard. He and his sister once lived happily together for a period alongside their friend Abel Cameron, better known to Garou players as Grant. Throughout most of his childhood, he was raised in Second Southtown slums, unlike his sister, and endured a difficult upbringing. Marie was sent away to live a life of luxury, but Abel made the selfless decision to stay with Kane and act as a father figure for the boy. In the streets, Kane and Abel were unfortunate witnesses to a tragic event, the violent death of a child. This event took place 19 years before the events of Garou Mark of the Wolves. Deeply affected by the event and fed up with the dire conditions of the slums, Kane was motivated to break free and boldly proclaimed his aspirations for power. At the tender age of 8, he found himself embroiled in a significant street altercation, catching the attention of a prominent figure in the criminal underworld, Don Pappas. Kane was later adopted into the crime family and eventually managed to overthrow his benefactor, rising to become the leader of the gang. Regrettably, this proved insufficient to protect Marie from her tragic fate. Eventually, he received the devastating news of her untimely demise, a result of her profound sorrow stemming from her husband's lack of affection. After the third King of Fighters tournament, news reached him that Geese had been killed by Terry Bogard. This led him to believe that the general population had grown tired of mediocrity and peace. Believing that one truly embraces life through adversity, Kane resolved to claim Geese's legacy and reign over Second Southtown. In his pursuit of a world of true freedom, Kane aimed to establish the city's independence from the United States, transforming it into a city-state. His vision was to shape the town into a place where constant exposure to violence would instill a deep appreciation for life, with the strongest individuals naturally rising to positions of power. Ever since Kane made his declaration, Abel has wholeheartedly agreed, sharing his vision of greatness and working together with remarkable success in Kane's relentless pursuit of power. After witnessing the same mortifying sight, Abel underwent a transformation. Convinced that society was on the brink of collapse, consumed by immorality and wrongdoing, Abel developed an intense devotion to the occult and the notion of an impending apocalypse. Abel, driven by his ambitions and desire to reshape the world, struck a pact with a malevolent being to acquire the power and alliances necessary to fulfill his grand vision. Abel was granted the knowledge of Ankaku karate, or dark karate, which he diligently trains in his temple beneath his mansion. From that day forward, he abandoned his former name and adopted the moniker of Grant. Grant's new persona required him to carry out the task of eliminating any intruders or conspirators who posed a threat to Kane. He has taken lives of numerous individuals during Kane's ascent to power. Grant's reputation precedes him, with tales of his formidable fighting skills and the chaos he leaves in his wake. His presence alone is enough to strike fear into the hearts of both criminals and the general public. Communities he has visited are left deserted as people live in constant dread of his return. His name has become synonymous with destruction and violence, forever etched into the memories of those unfortunate enough to cross his path. He prefers to operate in secrecy, only revealing himself when Kane deems it necessary. 4 years before the events of Mark of the Wolves, Grant bravely protected Kane from an unexpected attack by Don Pappas' loyalists who were seeking revenge for Kane's takeover of the Mafia empire. Despite not causing immediate fatality or severe injury, the bullet had become lodged dangerously close to his heart. Grant lives each day as if it were his last, embracing the anticipation of a great final battle due to the challenging nature of removing the bullet. As time passes, Rock grows into a skilled fighter, largely thanks to the training he received from Terry. Second Southtown has been established approximately 10 years after Geese's death. Amidst the chaos, a new King of Fighters tournament emerged known as Maximum Mayhem, reclaiming the gritty atmosphere of its origins. The tournament, allegedly organized by the notorious Grant, was actually orchestrated by Kane Heinlein. His motive was to entice his nephew, Rock Howard, who was under Terry's custody. Upon receiving an invitation, Terry captures Rock's interest as the letter enthusiastically urges Terry to bring Rock along for participation. Additionally, it mentions that there is important information about his mother from the hosting Heinlein family in the event that he emerges victorious in the tournament. Perplexed by the fact that this tournament only takes place while Geese is alive and has now resurfaced, Rock makes the decision to team up with Terry in order to uncover the truth and find his own sense of purpose. A plethora of a younger generation of fighters have joined the tournament for different reasons, and it's worth noting that some of the new characters carry relations to older characters. First is Bon Janet. B. Janet is the leader of the Lillian Knights, a notorious group of pirates. She entered into the Maximum Mayhem tournament determined to steal anything of value from Kane's mansion. Next is Kim Dong-hwan and Kim Jae-hoon. Kim Dong-hwan is the eldest son of Kim Kap-won, who participates in the tournament to uphold his father's legacy, even though he doesn't approach his training with utmost dedication. Kim Jae-hoon is the younger son of Kim Kap-won, who is known for his serious demeanor, dedication to his studies, and natural charisma. He has inherited a strong sense of justice from his father and is determined to carry on his legacy, just like his elder brother. Next is Hotaru Futaba, who is a young girl born into a family of skilled martial artists who embarks on a journey to the Maximum Mayhem tournament to find her missing brother, accompanied by her loyal pet Martin, Itakatsu. Next is Gato. Gato is a skilled martial artist and a man with a troubled past. Driven by a deep desire for revenge, he is determined to find justice for the tragic loss of his mother, a victim of a heinous crime committed by his own father. Next is T-Zoc, also known as the Griffin Mask, who is a renowned professional wrestler who has captured the hearts of young audiences everywhere. Next is Marco Rodriguez, also known as Kushnud Butt, who is a Brazilian practitioner of the Kyokugen Ryu Karate and a dedicated disciple of Ryo Sakazaki. He enters the Maximum Mayhem tournament with the intention of showcasing the power and skill of his martial art. Next is Hokutomaru, who is a skilled practitioner of the Shiranui Ryu Ninjutsu and devoted disciple of Andy Bogard, who eagerly joins the Maximum Mayhem tournament as per his master's request. Next is Kevin Ryan, who is a SWAT policeman and distant relative of Blue Mary, who joins the tournament with his colleague's son Marky, seeking revenge against the man responsible for his partner's death. Finally is Freeman, who is a serial killer who enters the Maximum Mayhem tournament to face formidable opponents. He happens to be the one responsible for the death of Kevin Ryan's police partner. Terry and Rock reach the finals and find themselves at the Dark Palace, the Heinlein Mansion estate located on the outskirts of 2nd Southtown. Terry bravely faces the terrifying urban legend Grant, ready to confront the formidable demonic fist of destruction. Terry emerges victorious in a hard-fought and intense battle against Grant. However, it is revealed that Grant is not the actual host of the event. They then encounter Kane Heinlein, a resident of 2nd Southtown who aims to take control of the city, causing turmoil by declaring its independence and instigating a violent struggle for dominance, reminiscent of the past chaos in Southtown. His intention is to restore a sense of enjoyment to the lives of its inhabitants. After fighting and defeating Kane, it was here where Rock realized that the tournament had been conceived by Kane with the intention of luring Rock to him. Kane sought Rock's help in deciphering Geese Howard's will, believing it contained valuable secrets. In exchange, Kane promised to provide information about Rock's mother, whom he claimed was alive. Terry cautiously approaches the crumbling remains of the mansion, where he discovers that Rock has become Kane's new partner, and realizes that he must place his trust in Rock's judgment to remain by Kane's side for the time being. Terry departs from the area, aware that Rock has finally vacated his den. After this, it seems Terry went back to living life as a lone wolf, facing an uncertain future. It is extremely important to point out that in his own ending, which I'm pretty sure ties with Rock's ending, where he strolls through 2nd Southtown, deep in thought, pondering the profound insights shared by Kane regarding the true nature of humanity. And thus, Garou Mark the Wolves ends on a cliffhanger. It's worth noting that in the finale of the OVA Garou Densetsu Memories of Stray Wolves, which serves as both a prologue and epilogue to Garou Mark of the Wolves, Terry is unexpectedly approached by Blue Mary on her motorcycle during her day off. Talking about Rock's location and the ongoing rumors about the development of 2nd Southtown as a city-state, Mary kindly offers Terry a ride to the Pow Pow Cafe to casually discuss the case she is currently working on. And that's where we come to a stop, as we have officially encapsulated the insane lore of Fatal Fury. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this was by far the hardest video I've ever worked on. So be sure to share, leave a like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'm excited for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, and I look forward to see where the story is going to go and what answers to our questions lie ahead. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Take care.